Uh, Good morning, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another session of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Hope you all had a great weekend. We did, with Swamiji being here in Dallas. So over to you, Nitinji. Maybe I started. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock. So over to you. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe, Sandhya. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, you will just make it full screen now, right?
Yes, I will. So Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. Happy Monday to all of you. Hope you all had a great weekend and having a good start to your week. So welcome back to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Today we will continue on our journey of recap of chapter 3. We're pretty much winding down on this chapter and complete the exciting and engaging discussions that we are having on the topic of desire, lust, and continue that forward. So again, a very warm welcome to all of you. Let me share my screen. The first day we'll get started by invoking the blessings of God and Guru like we always do. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Right, Radhe Radhe, morning, good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Let's move on. Today we're going to cover 3.40, the shloka. Oops. As I said, we are in the last lap of chapter 3 in our recap series, and it is going to get more and more engaging. So let me recite it, and then you're welcome to follow along. Indriyani mano buddhe asyaadhishthanamuchyate etervimohayatyesha jnanamavritya dehinam. All right, let's take a few participants to get the recitation going.
So Radhe Radhe, Samji.
Radhe Radhe.
Please go ahead.
Indriyani mano buddhir asyadhisthanamuchyate etaiर्विमोहयत्येषा ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Sam.
Shyamji, Radhe Radhe, please go
Radhe
ahead.
Radhe, Shyamji.
Radhe Radhe. Indriyani mano buddhir asyadhisthana muchyate etir mohayatyesha jnanamavritya dehinam. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, very nice, Shyamji. Thank you.
Rahulji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Indrani mano buddhir asyadhisthana muchyate eter vimohayatyesha jnanamavritya dehinam. Radhe
Very
Radhe.
nice, Rahul. Radhe Radhe.
Preeti ji, Radhe Radhe,
Radhe
please
Radhe,
go ahead.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Indriyani mano buddhihi asyadhisthanamuchyate etairvimohayatyesha jnanamavritya dehinam. Radhe Radhe.
Very nice. Thank you, Preeti ji. Radhe Radhe. Okay, let's take a few more hands.
We would encourage you to turn on your videos. I'll anyways go ahead and take the hands, but that's a request. Radhe Radhe. Pragi ji.
Yeah. Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Indriyani mano buddhi asyaadhishthanamuchyate etirvimohyachesha jnanamavritta dehinam.
Very nice, Pragiji. Radhe Radhe.
Thank
Okay, we have last 4 hands.
Yes, Ashutosh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Ashutosh.
राधे राधे इंद्रियाणि मनो बुद्धिर् अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येष ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्.
Very nice, Ashutosh. Radhe Radhe. Last. All right, let's
Next.
take a. I see Diva is
Take
going to
Diva
say.
first. Yeah, because she has her video turned on, so she'll be given the preference. And I guess it's a debut shloka recitation. So
Yeah, go for it, Diva. I look forward to your recitation today.
now she I don't know.
Okay. All right, you can come back.
Yeah, okay. Riya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Indriyani mano buddhir asyadhisthanamuchyate etair vimuhayatyesha jnanam avritya dehinam.
Very nice. Thank you, Riya ji.
Radhe Radhe.
Okay, let's move to our last 3 hands then.
I think, yeah, Diva, I'll unmute you. Can you speak? Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Indriyani mano buddhir asyadhishthanamuchyate etirvimohayatyesha yanam avritya dehinam.
Wonderful, Diva.
Thank you.
Kudos. And you made your debut today. Shyamji, you must be very happy today. Happy father today. Very nice.
Awesome.
Keep it up. You should recite more often. Wonderful.
Absolutely. Payal ji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Indriyani mano buddhi asyadhishthanamuchyate etirvimohayatyesha jnanam avritya dehinam.
Wonderful.
Radhe
Very
Radhe.
nice, Payalji. Radhe Radhe. Okay, last 2 hands.
Aparna ji, Radhe Radhe. Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Indriyani mano buddhir asyadhisthanamuchyate etair vimohayatyesha jnanamavritya dehinam. Thank
Wonderful,
you.
Aparna ji. Thank you. Last but not the least, Sandhya, go ahead.
Indriyani mano buddhi asyadhishthanamuchyate etair vimohayatyesha jnanam avritya dehinam.
Very nice. So let's get started. So Lord Krishna is saying that the senses, mind and intellect. Senses, we know, mind and intellect. Mind and intellect, they are both the compartments of our mind only, which is colloquially also called as Antakaran. So our mind has 4 parts to it: Man, Buddhi, Chit and Ahankar. And in this case, he's talking about Man and Buddhi. Buddhi is slightly higher than Man, which is the decision-making faculty of Man. So he's saying the senses, mind and intellect are said to be breeding grounds of desire. Okay, this is the breeding ground for desire. Through them, it clouds one's knowledge and dilutes the embodied soul. Now, the clouding of judgment and our knowledge, we have spoken about this concept. We'll touch upon it a little more today. And because of this effect of desire on our our soul, what happens is, because the soul is embodied, see, the words are very carefully chosen here: embodied soul. So we think of ourselves as a body with a soul. Actually, we are a soul encaged with a body. That is what our true identity is. So And our knowledge gets clouded because our senses, mind, and intellect, they breed desire, desire after desire after desire. Okay, and that cycle continues. So let's get into the topic of our discussion today, deeper discussion. So today we are going to talk about, you see this big fortress. I don't know, probably it's some, maybe Palji can tell if it's some palace in Jodhpur or somewhere. But for me, it looks like a Great Wall of China. But anyways, the fortress of the enemy must be spotted before one can lay siege on it. So what we are going to discuss today is, what is the fortress and the enemy being talked about here? Okay, so this is what we are going to talk about here today. So let's get started. Now, these are our senses, right? Sense of touch, smell, speech, eyes. So these are our senses. And then we have mind, which is nothing but the governor of our senses. And then we have the intellect, which is the discriminating faculty or the aspect of our mind which takes decisions for the mind. It's like a boss. The boss of senses is mind, and the boss of mind is intellect. Senses cannot do something without the approval from mind, and mind cannot do something without the approval of intellect. Okay, the hierarchy is very beautifully maintained, and it's just a matter of thinking deep, and you'll understand anything that you are doing, it has to be sanctioned by your intellect, then mind will follow, and whatever is followed by your mind, your senses will follow that. And this is how this hierarchy works. And what Lord Krishna is saying is, in this particular verse, is that the senses, mind, and intellect, these three, SMI or MIS, whatever, are the places from where lust exercises its dominion over the soul. Okay, so these are the breeding grounds. Through these, the lust is exercising its control or dominion over the soul. Okay, so the fortress that we are talking about, supposedly an impregnable fortress right now, and lust, as you see, is like this gin coming out of the bottle, or genie coming out of the bottle. It keeps on growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just needs, its subjects from time to time. It exercises its dominion over the soul. And this is how it basically embodied. We are embodied, and that is where it exerts its control over us, completely exerts its control. We are under the complete siege, basically, in that sense. Now, how does it happen? Let's move on. Still have people joining in. Okay, so these are the three, just to recapture this thing. Senses, mind, and intellect are the breeding grounds for our desires, and through these, the lust is exercising its dominion over the soul. Let's see what's happening here. So our mind gets infatuated, right? Infatuated, we all know infatuation. You fall in love with the object of desire, and the sense objects are desired by the senses. Senses says, go for it, watch this, see this, touch this, taste this, smell this. Okay, and that infatuation is developed over time, and because of that, the senses in turn, they infatuate the mind. Mind says, yes, go for it, because it's going to give you happiness. Okay, that promise is always given to it. And under the sway of lust, I hope you see the sway from side to side. Sway of lust, it misleads or misinforms us. The mind misleads the intellect. It says, this is what I need. Okay, just go for it. It'll give you happiness. Okay, and it keeps on swaying, falling to the different sense objects that we have. And this cycle continues. Okay, that is how this goes. So our mind gets infatuated, and then senses, they continue to be, because of the sense objects that our senses demand. And then our intellect is convinced by our mind. The cycle is reversed. It should be your intellect. See, it's like a developer telling a CEO how the company needs to be run, right? Everybody has their own agenda and objective in life, and a very shallow look of viewpoint of how the company needs to be run, based on their self-interest alone. They don't have that 3000 feet view, and they think everybody, if you ask, they would know. Like in India, they say every person is a selector. So when the big tournament comes, everybody has an opinion on what the team should be. It doesn't work that way, right? You have to have an eligibility, and if the hierarchy is followed, your odds of success are higher. But in this case, just the reverse is happening. Your senses are telling what is it that you need. Mind is following, and it is convincing the intellect, and intellect is happy following the mind alone. Right? Kathopanishad analogy of charioteer, I hope it rings well there, where the horses are senses which are running wild. The reins, which is our mind, is simply following the horses. The charioteer, which is supposed to be our intellect, is just following along. And the unfortunate passenger is soul, which is us, chariot being the body. And the soul is going from here to there and asleep and just not knowing what's going on with it, okay? Just following the senses. So this cycle is reversed right now. And the sway of lust is nothing but the direction that each horse takes, okay? Which horse is dominant at a given point in time really dictates the course of our journey, okay? That particular point. So this is how the cycle continues. Now, when intellect loses its discriminatory powers, when the intellect is clouded, it doesn't know what is right or what is wrong. See, when you are that intellect is the only thing that differentiates us from the animals. The ability to choose, the ability to take decisions, the ability to decide what is good for me or not. When that power is lost, there's absolutely no difference between animals and us at that point. Right? We are following a script in that case, if we are simply following our senses at that point. So at that moment, there's no difference between us and the primitive animals at that point, because we lose the ability to know what is right and what is wrong. And living being is deluded to become a slave of lust and will do anything to satiate it. Now we have come to a position where we are saying we'll follow the script like animals or the other species, bhog yonis do. We are not able to discriminate, and we become enslaved at that point. Enslaved means you are like a puppet in the hands of that lust or that sensory object. We would have experienced it in different phases of our life. Okay, there are times when we exercise our dominion over our mind, right? Intellect's dominion over the mind, but more often than not, the lust is exercising its dominion over us. Over us means soul. So it's like a puppet. It says, do this, you'll do that, do this, do that. Each sense is doing its puppet show basically with us. Now, these instruments, senses, mind, and intellect, they're not bad in themselves. Now, you'll say, if that is the case, why do we even have those? Is God playing some kind of a practical joke with us? Of course not. No. They are not bad in themselves, actually. Okay, so that's what's going on here. So they are endowed to us for a reason. See, these senses, mind, and intellect, which is given to us, we have permitted lust in its many forms to lay siege on them because of our lower goals that we have set for ourselves. We'll talk about goals tomorrow more in detail. But the point here is, whatever knowledge, see, knowledge is like a vessel. And at any point in time, it activates some piece of knowledge in it. And the knowledge that we have activated in our intellect is not proper. That is the whole reason, right? We keep speaking about this concept that the basic problem of humanity, or us being humans, that we are facing, because of which we have all the problems, manas rogs like anger, lust, greed, and further away from peace, happiness, joy that we are seeking, is because we are ignorant. Ignorant means our value system is not aligned, and we don't know the direction in which we should be running, because our intentions are sure. I mean, that is following the script of seeking happiness, but it is born out of ignorance. And Ved Vyas also in Brahma Sutra, the first thing he says is Ajnanam evasya mool karanam. It's the ignorance which is the biggest problem, and because of ignorance, other things manifest. It's compounding effect. It starts happening. The first problem that happens is 2 + 2 = 5. We are this body. Now you start building a castle on top of it, and considering bodily associates as our permanent relatives, our relationships, as a source of happiness for us, and the sole purpose of life becomes pursuit of sensory pleasures which are related to the body level. Why are there lower goals? Because of ignorance and our messed up value system around it. And decision making is impaired, because if your value system says money is important, then sabse bada rupaiya is your punchline in life. Right? People burn people, right? Dowry and all that stuff, because their value system is saying this is what is important for our life. Somebody's value system says drink is all that we need, then they spoil families, they will sell off everything, go bankrupt, but they just need to have the drink in this. I see one question. Kamya ji or Kamla ji, you want to have a question? Maybe not. So really that value system is because we set lower goals. And why do we set lower goals? Purposely, nobody sets lower goals. We'll talk a little more about this concept tomorrow. But one part of it is born out of ignorance, because we don't know anything better. You tell me anything better and I'm willing to do that, but then very few people get to that stage of even inquiring that. If you ask somebody who has spent that person has spent their entire life, let's say there is a neem, there's an insect which has dwelled on neem for their entire life, and you tell that neem, that insect, that you know how sugar tastes, he would say no. Have you tasted sugar? He said no. Molasses? No. Jaggery? No. Mishri? No. No. Any derivative of sugar? No. Then how can you explain the taste of sugar to them, right? So the point is, the neem, they haven't gotten exposure to that. So similarly, as humans, we haven't tasted that, but then God is not going to give us the taste, just like that. You have to just follow the process, show the intent, and rest will happen. But we don't get to that stage and then keep on living our life aligning to those lower goals only, and then the problem keeps on compounding. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
Yeah, there's a question in the chat by Aparna ji. She's asking, we always say, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, and talk about the importance of getting rid of the ego. Never heard saying, I'm not the ego. Can we also say, I am, or the ego?
No.
I guess not the ego. Sorry, I'm not sure if I'm asking the right question. Okay, that's
No, I
what
think
she's
you're right.
asking.
See, when we say I'm not the mind actually encompasses ego also. Like I said, mind has 4 parts to it: man, buddhi, chit, and ahankar. Ahankar is the ego part of it. So ego is something which is the first one to come and the last one to leave. Because of this, ego, we have the false sense of doership. However, using this ego, we work on our ego, put it in perspective, and finally ego also evaporates. You understand you are not the doer. Who's the source? You get to the source of who's giving you the energy. So ego is part of mind only. So in that sense, when we say I'm not the mind, that automatically covers that statement. It's a subset of that. I hope I answered your question. So these are the lower goals, but we'll come back to it if you have more questions. Now, they were given to us for a purpose, for the purpose of achieving God realization. Okay. Because we can actually dovetail or attach them to God, relish that nectar, and it'll pave the way for a faster realization, right? How else will you relish the bliss of God if you did not have senses or mind or an ability, an intellect? If you did not have an intellect, there would have been no difference between you and a robot. Robot is scripted. Do this, do that. So God has given us intellect to make choices. Then he has given us mind to experience bliss. And then he has given us senses, which are Gyanendriyas, where you absorb knowledge and keep on progressing. So they are needed. However, the direction needs to be corrected. That is all spirituality is all about. We are not able to take that leap of faith to begin with and say, okay, no, Rasgulla that I'm seeing is going to give me bliss, and we succumb to that. And there are different Rasgullas for each senses, right? But God says they are actually given to your purpose. You align to that and feel the relish for yourself. People have relished, they keep on relishing it. Right? Guru Nanak Dev, somebody asked him that, that he was talking about Saki. And he said, this Saki that you have is something that gets over, the very night. The next day you have a hangover. The Saki that I drink of, God, that is ever, I'm always intoxicated. I don't need to get out of it. So that is the bliss of God, which we haven't experienced because it takes a little bit of process and faith to get to that stage, right? So they are given to us for a reason. However, the direction is a little, it's a different direction that we have taken around that. So be the master of your mind rather than mastered by mind. Now, the fortress that we're talking about, getting back to that, let me give you a little bit of an analogy around it. Let's talk about a hacker here. Okay. I'm in cyber security, so I thought it's a good opportunity to talk about a hacker. So when a hacker comes, like I'm at a company which is a financial institution, one of the trading platforms here in US, and I'm in the security domain, okay, which is cyber security. At least people tell me that, okay, now I've agreed with them, started believing it. So our job is to protect good people, their money and their investments from supposedly bad people who are called hackers, who are always looking at some kind of a doorway to enter and lay siege on the accounts or their money. So their motive basically is, multifold. How do I attack? What is the chink that can be exploited in the system? What are the crown jewels that can be captured? Crown jewels are very important, right? You will not invest your time and money on something which does not give you a big bang for your buck and time, right? If it's a $10 thing, why would you invest time and risk getting jailed and stuff? Like crown jewels are things that you want to go after. And how can I take control over the controller? If you take control over the controller, game is done, right? That is called admin super privileges within any company. You have access and you have super access. If you get control over that, you get keys to the kingdom. Okay, that is how it works. So it's something similar. And we build certain things where we make sure when the person comes in, they are logging in or getting in, like you log into Zoom. Here we don't have much control. You can change your name and become somebody else by changing your picture as well. But then when they get into systems, we make sure they are the ones whom they are claiming they are, right? You tell me, you have to prove who you are. And only when we are sure it is not somebody who is a threat actor, somebody dangerous, do we let them in, right? All the passwords and multi-factors and stuff like that is a way of authenticating or establishing that the person is really the one who he's claiming and he's not going to pose any threat, right? In this case, what is happening in our case, right? We are also getting hacked every day. So that hacking, there's absolutely no control around it. So if you look at it, this is a fortress, right? We said the mind, intellect, and senses is where the breeding ground is for desire. Okay. Now, that fortress itself has these enemies. Now, there is an interesting story about Great Wall of China. It is very strong and it stretches over a long boundary as well, right? It was built to protect China from invaders. Now, it is strong. However, what will it take to break that? Not a big cannon or a big army. All it needs to break that wall is to bribe the gatekeeper, small gate, and you are in. That's it. That's all it takes. So you're only as strong as the weakest link that you have in that system. And we all have our weakest links. Okay. And that weakest link could vary based on the senses. So desire is already, the enemy is already residing because mind, senses, and intellect is with us only. It is a breeding ground for our enemy. And then opening the gate is also something our intellect decides, picks up before following the mind and senses. What is going to be that weakest link is something we can talk about. For us, anybody, our experience would tell us it could vary during the day. Something could become our weakest link, and that is what we keep on succumbing to. And here we don't even have processes built unless you start harnessing your power of intellect through spiritual knowledge. You have absolutely no control. Any garbage you would let in at that point, your senses are telling you, and that garbage can come in form of any sensual pleasure that you are seeking through your senses, or it could come in form of any of the afflictions of mind that we have, anger, bitterness, and hatred, and all that stuff. Are you doing a check even before letting them in? Absolutely nothing. Building that check is essentially the witness consciousness and proper knowledge, which we do in like identity space. We are building system processes, but when it comes to self-management, we have no process in place. So spirituality is actually helping us build those processes to tackle those enemies which we are very happily trying to fight in the real world. But when it comes to us, we keep on getting hacked every moment by one of these sensory indulgements, or one of the weakest link that keeps on shifting based on which sense is dominating at what point. Okay. Anybody who wants to add or say anything about it? What is your weakest link or anything of that sort, or how this phenomena unfolds? I can take a few questions before I move further.
There's a question from Manisha ji, if I can read it.
Sure.
Mind says fight for your right, and heart says, does it really matter? And I get the strength of let go. So being sacrificing kind of person is better, or how to see our rights and how to deal with this fight between mind and heart as it fluctuates. And she also adds her weakest link is emotions.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question, right? There's a dialogue in a movie that heart is on the left, but is always right. But anyways, more often than not, the problem is, see, some people have a dominating left brain and right brain, right? People who have it, I think, left brain are more emotional, and I think right brain are more analytical. Balance is the key here. See, emotions is a good thing. The good part of it is it's a double-edged sword, everything. If you are emotion driven, actually it could become a huge asset for you, because path of devotion is all emotion driven. It is emotional meditation. Emotions, if you have, you can really progress very fast. The problem is those emotions come for the world. We just need to dovetail it in that sense. And so that's why it says, when it comes to you saying heart and mind, heart should be dovetailed towards God. Mind should be dovetailed in a way so that you can operate effectively in this world. So in world, we need to use our buddhi. And in matters of God, we need to use our heart. So emotions need to be channelized. It's like people who are emotional, they shed tear for God very quickly. But the problem with them is they shed tear for world also very quickly. That needs to be. So when it comes to the world, we need to be as hard as a thunderbolt. And when it comes to God, we need to be as soft as a butter. And we need to learn to carry both the contradictory attributes simultaneously. World, thunderbolt; God, butter. So being emotional is a good thing. And when you talk about your right and stuff like that, I think intuitively you will start getting, is it something that is within your tolerable limits? If yes, and if you're sacrificing, it is an opportunity to purify yourself. But when it becomes very troublesome, it starts taking a lot of your mind space. When you employ the same concept, there are three choices always we have. What we can't cure, we endure. Can you do something about it? If yes, do something about it. If you cannot do something about it, then learn to live with it, endure it. And if you can change it, go and change it. So quit it, change it, or learn to live with it. Those three things are there. And then intuitively, or with the help of Guru and God, you figure out what is best for you, because the worst thing that can happen to us is not learning to live with it, but getting bitter in life and wasting our emotions for these things. The thing is, end of the day, we have to dovetail our mind to God and manage the situation tactfully, because it is just a temporary phase. If you look at the journey of soul, it is across lifetime, and this lifetime is just a blip in that ocean. So when we have the big picture in mind, we look at every opportunity as an opportunity for inner growth and an opportunity to get closer to God. When we have that mindset, then life becomes a relatively easier journey to sail through. So again, it's contextual, but you are the best judge. So you need to take a call. But the key thing is not to get better and keep on harnessing your emotions towards God, as opposed to spending a lot of time and mind space and emotion for the world itself, because that is a never ending thing. The amount of tears that we have shed for this world has been, if you put it in an ocean, we would have filled up all the 7 continents, maybe much more than that. And Swamiji says, even if you do that, Maharaj Ji used to say the same, that if you had shed only 1% of those tears for God, we would have realized God not once but multiple times. So we have to look at it in perspective. And those tears keep on changing for different people in different lifetimes. In this life, so oh my God, this person is the only person. And then we have done this drama for so many different people in so many lifetimes, right? Not the same person. So the two souls hardly meet again. Yes. Yes, Sam, you had a question too?
Beautiful answer. Thank you.
Crocodile is the one next to the alligator. Okay. Ask me the question now.
Samji.
Yes, Sam, go ahead.
Radhe.
Mhm.
And Nitinji, somewhere I missed, I think, I don't know or whether you explained or not, but in our case, in our case of fortress, what is the gatekeeper? And
Gatekeeper is supposed to
what
be
is
our
trying to conquer?
Gatekeeper is supposed to be our intellect, okay, which gets bribed very easily by our mind. Okay. Fortress is nothing but our mind, senses, and intellect. All three are the fortress which is the breeding ground. It's supposed to be a fortress to defend us, but actually it is a breeding ground for desire, which is our enemy. Okay. That we're not able to fight. Okay. All right. So any other questions around it? And we are not filtering it out. Like I said, right, in all the companies, corporates, they are very careful about the kind of people they want to let in. Even when we do hiring, right, people do background check, employee verification. They want to make sure they are getting the right people, not a criminal. But when it comes to the matter of self-management, absolutely no control we have built. No control whatsoever. Whatever comes to our mind, whatever temptation comes, unfiltered approach about going about it. And that is where spirituality comes in. It says, no, start building your defense layers, layer by layer, until you solidify intellect to an extent that you don't let even a single negative thought to be pursued in your mind without, just like that. Right now, do we have control over mind? Whatever it generates, it continues to generate random thoughts, weeds, this, that, all kind of stuff. And spirituality is the best project we can undertake, because now you are started reading yourself and working on yourself and improving yourself. And what is happening as a consequence of it? You're more blissful, you're more confident, you're getting better at everything, you're more joyful, and you're getting closer to the purpose of life, right? By feeling more, becoming a better version of yourself. Those are the things that you start realizing. But if we don't do that, we keep on leading life in a de facto mode, then are we breeding ground of desires and falling for desire. This cycle keeps on repeating, and that's essentially what Lord Krishna is putting down his foot and explaining that to Arjun, okay, for our benefit. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
There are more questions in the chat.
Sure.
So Falguni Desai ji is asking, most of the times we are aware of our weakest link, but in spite of that, why can't we be aware of the origin of our suffering or the weak link? So why is that?
Today you have the opportunity to build your tomorrow, right? Today only I came across this beautiful quote. So today you have an opportunity to build your tomorrow. And yesterday you had the opportunity to build your today. And yesterday, whatever you built for yourself is what you're seeing today. So the point is, this mind is not from one lifetime. This mind of ours is from endless lifetimes. And whatever we have made of our mind is who we are today. So if we are struggling with a particular thing in our mind, that means we have not worked on that lesson in any lifetime. And we have to climb that pit by ourselves only. And when we do devotion, when we come in contact with a sage or a saint and a mentor, spiritual mentor, that's when this journey starts. So the point is, when we have that realization, start working on it. As simple as that. And before you realize it, with God and Guru's grace, you would have climbed over it and it will become irrelevant after a point in time. But the point is, it's not given to us by God. Otherwise, it will be very unfair. We say, why did you give me this weakness? We only developed it by our repeated contemplation. Tomorrow we'll go a little more deeper into this. How did we see any weakness that we have is our own doing? How? We kept on thinking about that particular thing. We kept on building our attachment. We kept on contemplating happiness on that thing. So we only create weaknesses for our mind. Nobody else does. because of our ignorance of thinking that we are this body, and when we get this thing, it will make me happy. Doesn't make us happy, it disappoints us, and then we find some other thing to attach our mind to that will make me happy. Again, we get disappointed, and this cycle continues because we don't know anything better. So that is why we're reading Bhagavad Gita with the hope that we will know better, higher principles and get out of this vicious cycle. Hope it makes sense.
Yeah, to me it does, and I'm sure to her as well. And there's one more question to Anamika from Anamika ji about dovetailing emotions towards God. Is a mom not supposed to love her child?
Of course, why not? In fact, but I would say, why love expand your bubble. You love your child. See, first of all, that love is born out of attachment and expectation. God says love, leave out these two things. And why is it that happening? That is happening because we think they have come from us. We don't understand they have come through us. It is an honor and a privilege to raise a child. If God has given that, right? That soul has chosen you in that particular life. But when we think they are mine, I own them, or they'll be the source of happiness to me, and they'll be the best kid the way I want them to see, that is where the problem starts. So you can love without being attached. That is the key. You love, give them all the love that you can. I would say, why restrict it to your child? Give it to everybody around. Keep on expanding your bubble, because that is the only thing you have to offer. Why restrict it to your child only? Why not to your neighbor's child the same way as you do your child, right? That is the key. It's our attachment which is crippling us, and that expectation which becomes a cause for misery down the line. Love it. Who's stopping you from loving it? That is how we need to be. We need to be loving and compassionate towards everybody, not just our kid alone. But when you build expectation, that will be a cause for misery and disappointment in long run, is what Lord Krishna is telling us, not stopping us from loving anybody. It's a good emotion. We should harness it to the best of our ability. Some people say, oh, I see God in my kid. Kids are the form of God only. That is a very valid argument, sure. But if that is the case, we should see God in every kid. Why just limit to our kid only? In fact, every living being we should see. The day you'll see God in your enemy and the person whom you hate, job is done. That's mean you have cut a corner spiritually already. So bring to your mind the person whom you hate the most. When you see God in that person, that's when you have arrived. Yes.
Beautiful answer. And there's a follow-up question from someone else, Pankaj ji. He's saying, when you love something, then you go through attachment also. Then how do you get free?
Yeah, that happens to us, right? When we start loving, attachment happens, and that is where we need to bring in this knowledge, right? End of the day, we should not have a sense of proprietorship. Anything can be snatched away from our movement. And when it happens with our kids, let's understand they are our kids only. They are our kids. Secondly, firstly, they are kids of God, and we all are. So if your neighbor comes to you and says, you know what, I'm really worried about your kid, you will say, give me a break. I am his mother. I would know better. Similarly, when we start worrying about our kids, God smiles. Firstly, everybody belongs to God, right? Then they belong to us. So loving is actually liberating. Attachment and expectation is binding. That puts us down. So under the disguise of love, it's our own expectation and self-interest which builds that attach. Why would you get attached to something? It's your self-interest. You think that thing is going to give you happiness. And spirituality tells us none other than God or godly saints or matters related to God can give you real happiness. So bring that knowledge and beat that emotion. Nobody can give you happiness in this world. It's like a beggar asking another beggar for money. It's not that the other person is bad. They just don't have the ability to give you what you're asking for. And neither do we have. How can a beggar make another person rich, right? So same way, when you put your happiness, it's your attachment is coming from, where is the attachment coming from? Attachment is coming from a repeated contemplation that this person, this object, this thing will give me happiness. That foundation itself is flawed. How will it happen? So you cut that part and then love that person, because that is the only thing you can offer. And then see how beautiful and liberating that emotion becomes. You accept the people as they are. Your attachment becomes crippling at that point. Truly, we don't really know the definition of love. It's our self-interest, our own attachment that comes in the disguise of love. I love this person. We love everybody for our own sake. Love will evaporate the moment they will put a block on the happiness that you're perceiving from that object. That song was there, right? I came all the way, breaking all the signals and leaving my Delhi girlfriend. Of course not for that person. That person came for his own sake, right? So nobody loves anybody for their sake. Everybody loves for their own sake until we are in material consciousness. So
For
that
the
is
first time I heard. For the
what
first time I heard this song in English, Nitinji. Okay.
I know. I found it
Ashutosh,
pretty funny, right? And people fall for it, right? Wow, what a not possible.
and I
He
don't
said
think
there are three kind of love, right? He in the lecture that I hope you were able to hear it when he Sunday satsang he gave. He said there are three kind of. In Greek, there is eros, right? Eros. Then there is philios, and then there is agape. Eros is erotic love, romantic love that we see in Bollywood movies supposedly, which we think as love. It is not love. It is your self-seeking thing that you're going after. Then there is philias. It is much deeper than that, where your association is like with your friend, 20-year-old friend. And even when you grow old, you care for the person. It goes much deeper than that. Get closer to that love. Agape is true love, where you do it for the sake of other person, which is what spirituality is telling us is true love. So loving actually is a very pure emotion. We contaminate it by putting our self-interest in it. So love is a very good emotion if we can practice it by understanding the true definition of love. And when we can do that with that thing, with our kids or whoever comes around it, it'll change the course of the journey of their lives and your relationship with them completely. But we don't have that ability until we start aligning to the spiritual principles and come in contact with proper knowledge around this concept and think deeply about it. Okay.
awesome. Yeah, real love is selfless love to give, right?
Agape,
So that's
agape. Okay, we'll bring that concept again. Okay. Agape. We are in eros mostly. Philias also happen when we have some deep connections with people in this world. Agape is what we need to move towards.
right. Ashutosh ji says detached love, I believe. And Falguni ji also says Khalil Gibran has said, our children are born of us, but they don't belong to us. Like
True,
what you
very
said.
true. They come through us, they're born of us, but they don't belong to us. Right?
So
Arjun, when
there's
he lost Abhimanyu, he was wailing. Krishna said, let me put it. By the way, he was also doing Leela for the sake of us. He took him to, I think, Moon God, where he was supposed to go back after 16 years. He took him there and he said, beta, beta, like we do, right? We are very melodramatic, right? Beta, beta, he did that. And Abhimanyu said, which beta are you talking about? Okay, give me a break. In so many lives, I've become your father and somebody else son and this father. Which relationship are you talking about? And that is essentially what happens. The soul moves on, right? Two souls meeting in a similar relationship in multiple lifetimes, the odds of that are as good as you finding a log piece or two log pieces converging in a journey of a river. That is how relationships go. But we build a big hype about it in our head. So what happens is the soul changes, but that intensity of emotion repeats with another person because our sanskars are so deep rooted, right? So lifetime after lifetime, we continue to play ghar ghar with different people. And we are so engrossed in that game, we don't want to come out of it. And with great fortune, when we come in contact with the sage and this knowledge, then that's when I think we should not let go of this opportunity to start building it in, because this mind will be is our eternal companion. There is no riddance getting rid of this mind, no matter where you go. So as humans, the more we work on our mind and build this proper knowledge base, Guru is there to do yogakshema for us. When we start aligning to these principles, the more freedom we will enjoy, even if we don't complete this journey in our lifetime. Is anybody happy by forming attachments? What does it bring? Disappointment in long run, anxiety and fear in medium term, And insecurity in short term, what's the game? What's the big game? And when you are liberated, how free it is. Would you like your mind to be chained or to be free of shackles? Both choices are available to us. Yes.
There are a couple of more questions. I guess there's one question from Vatsal Upadhyay ji. I know that I have done wrong deeds in past. Due to that, I am facing difficult times. But the fear of falling again is stopping me to correct myself. How do I overcome this fear?
See, if that's the bad news that you have done bad deeds, the good news is that you are not the only one. We all have. We all are patit. Okay, but God is called Patit Pavan. Swamiji gave such a beautiful lecture on that, right? So if we have this realization that we are patit, God is willing to do us pavan. But we don't truly believe that. Having said that, of course, it's a journey again for us to believe that we are truly patit. That is whole spirituality is about. See, we don't even know ourselves properly. The day we will start knowing, we know how compassionate, it will bring tears to your eyes, how tolerant and merciful God is, despite having so many imperfections that we have. But the point of spirituality is it should not, bring us into some kind of despondency or some kind of a sadness. I have done it and I'll fall. No, one of the symptoms of progressing in devotion is to being optimist, of having a lot of enthusiasm. I have gotten human birth, how merciful God is. I have this opportunity. Fine, I've made mistakes, but with God's and Guru's help, I will sail over it. I'll put in my best, and they're always seated within me to help me. So we need to fill ourselves with inspiration and positivity as opposed to thinking about things which can bring us down. All of us have made mistakes. They say there's every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. So rather than having a focus on the past, we should be very optimistic and hopeful about the future. Ashavadi and Utsahi. These are the two key things a devotee should have. So fill yourself with inspiration, associate yourself with good people, and then all of us are sinners. Even if we have done one sin in one life, we have already done infinite sins. So none of us is any better than each other. That's why we are here. So we need to fill ourselves with enthusiasm. We have this knowledge. We have come in contact with the bona fide guru, and now we have an association of satsang. So let's focus on the things that are working for us and try to make the best of it. And we should not be needlessly worried about anything. God and Guru are there to protect us and do our yogaksham. Let's focus on what we can do rather than worrying unnecessarily and creating more tests for ourselves. That is the right approach in this path.
Awesome. Actually, I know there are a couple of hands raised, but this is a segue. There is a comment which is a segue for me to just make announcements. So can I do that?
Sure, please do.
So Aparna ji has said, it is such a basic knowledge that I'm not the body, detached from bodily relatives, etc. And once we found Swamiji, this knowledge seems so basic, thanks to Swamiji. And then she's asking, were we so ignorant in our past lives?
Yeah, हम जानते हैं, मानते नहीं हैं. We know it, but we don't truly believe it even now. Because if we could truly believe we are a soul, we will never put a wrong foot. You will always question, is it good am I doing it for my body or am I doing it for my soul? That question will dictate, if that question could dictate every step and every thought that we make during the day, then we are already at that knowledge, right? So knowledge keeps on slipping. Knowledge needs to be revised. See, we might have learned Swamiji's lecture multiple times, but that knowledge to become as part of our DNA takes a lot. And what we are trying to do right now in this satsang or these sessions is to keep on ruminating on this knowledge through different angles and stuff like that until it becomes part of our nature. So yes, we might have heard this knowledge. We might have come in contact with Guru in the past as well. But then that nishchay, that nididhyasan or the firm decision of the intellect that yes, this is it, has probably not yet come. Although it seems very basic, but do we really think we are a soul? Think of the decisions, how many decisions we make thinking of ourselves as a soul during our day. That itself will tell us how pakka we are with this knowledge as yet.
Yes, awesome. So I'll just quickly make announcements. So
sure,
yeah, Swamiji is,
Mm-hmm.
right. Swamiji is in US and his US tour is soon going to begin from the next weekend, April 29th, the Life Transformation Program on the theme of Golden Rules for Living Our Best Life is going to start in the West Coast in Seattle. It will start from April 29th. And I have posted the link of all the events. So he'll be visiting your city also soon. So just check that out and do not miss out on the opportunity to meet him. Also, West Coast Retreat is going to be there from May 27 to May 29th in Fresno. So I have posted the link and you can attend it virtually from your home as well. And of course, whoever can go in person and attend it, that will be best. So please check out the link and register yourself well in time. Similarly, for the family camp, which is the biggest retreat of the year in United States, and the registration is open, and also the early bird there is some discount running right now. So check that out. Again, you can attend it both virtually and in person. So those are the announcements. I have posted the feedback tracker earlier. I will post it again. So please fill in the feedback tracker. That's it for now. And we can
Yeah,
take
let's take,
any
I say,
hand.
3 more hands. Let's take their question and then we
Yeah,
move to our
yeah.
devotional segment. Typically after 10, we have our little bit of devotional segment after a lot overload of philosophy. So let's take, I see 3 more hands.
Yeah, Deyasini, thank you so much for waiting for so long. Radhe Radhe, please go
And please
ahead.
fill out the feedback tracker as well. Any question that
Radhe.
you're able to ask or you want to share. So
Radhe
yes,
Radhe.
Yashini.
Yes, yes. I was just like while we were going through the discussion of attachment and desire, I was just one thing came in my mind that there is a continuous tug of war between in our mind between uh, like needs and wants. Needs are the necessity. So for our soul, God, I mean, I may be wrong, but I just thought that there is a fight between needs and wants. So our soul actually needs God. It is necessity for our soul it is necessity for our soul to need God. But the thing is that whether we want God or not, that is the free will. That like there's an example which you have mentioned, like that one that 300 and something steps I am ready to take, but let the sun take only one step. So that is the want. Whether you want to go to God or not, that's your decision. And so this is what I want. That like this is what I wanted to share. That we have to continuously make the decision in the mind that whether we need it or want it, because need is okay. Need is the thing. It's the basic knowledge. We all know that, but want is very important. We want some car, or we want to go to this restaurant or that restaurant, whatever. But whether we want God, so this is the thing which we have to ask ourselves.
Very true. Beautifully summarized, Yashini. Only correction I would make is the steps were 3,760 steps. Okay, just kidding. But yes, we need God. First of all, we don't know that, and then some saint comes along and tells us you need God. But then that journey from needing and wanting, that is also a bit of a journey, right? Where we want, and God says, I'm a perfectionist. When you want me and only me, and that's about it. When you have exclusivity and continuity about your want, that's when I'll meet you. Till that time, you take your time. Be my guest. I'm going to accompany you in lifetime after lifetime, whether you become a dog, donkey, or a polar bear. But I will not meet you. But when you make me as your number one and the only priority, that's when I will welcome you and meet you. So that is the condition he has laid. Okay, so he's a super perfectionist for sure, and very possessive in that sense as well. No cutting slack. Yes, one more question.
There's one more in the chat. Can I just... Sairamji has shared the Bhagavad Gita Shlok 9.30. I am not going to read that right now. I'll just say what he wants to say from there. Even if the willest sinners worship me with exclusive devotion, they are to be considered righteous because they have made the proper resolve. So this is what Swamiji had said to Sairamji, and he wanted to share it with us from
Very
in the
nice.
context.
Yeah. He says, even if the vilest sinners worship me with exclusive devotion, they are to be considered righteous because they have made the proper resolve. True.
Right. And Priyaji says, if the weakest link is attachment, also considered selfish love, and our spiritual goal should be selfless love, are we still not pursuing attachment to realize this emotion in our love for with God?
It's a good thing. Anything that is your weakness or something which is not beneficial for you in material world could actually become your asset when it's dovetailed towards God. So when you desire God or you form a deep longing and attachment for God, it becomes an asset. Okay, so whenever Patanjali Yoga Sutra or any of the scriptures say give up this, give up that, it is actually referring to material. You can safely prefix it with material. When you dovetail it or direct it towards the spiritual realm, it becomes your asset, and which is very uplifting and purifying. Longing and attachment to God, I mean, there's no better gift you can give to yourself. If you miss God, even better. Okay, so this is how it works. Sure, that's a good attachment. You are improving the quality of your attachment and putting it to, see, God has given these emotions for a good reason. We have started putting it to a different use altogether. God has given you a jaguar, okay, to soar high and fast. You are putting it to suboptimal use by doing your groceries and here and there regular stuff only. So attachment is good when it is directed towards God. It's a good thing, right? Mirabai, Tukaram, Narsi Mehta, all these were attached to God. They loved God. It's a good emotion. It's a purifying emotion.
And Payalji says, Bhagwan bhi nahi, Bhagwan hi chahiye.
Bhi ko hi se replace karna hai. Very true. We need to replace not only with only. Bhi has to be replaced with he. Very true.
Okay, so Prashanta ji, thank you so much for waiting for so long. Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, thank you. After a long time. Nitinji, what was the third that you mentioned? Eros, Philias, and what was that? I missed
Agape.
that.
Agape.
Okay, agape. Okay. My question is, what happens now if we incorporate all those three things that we have mentioned with a single person? Can that be called as love?
All those three. See, it's like emotion. One, you are bringing in shades now, right? This is a pure color. Love is a pure color. There's only one sentence around it, right? But when we are bringing in shade, there would still be a predominant emotion there, right? And that is the one which is basically that you go with. But yeah, it can vary from thing to thing, but we don't have the ability to do pure love until we have sufficiently contemplated on it and purified our mind to that extent. Otherwise, we don't have. Your intellect will trick you and tell you, you know what, it is selfless for that person. But deep down, there would be some kind of a selfishness attached to that as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's like symbiosis as well as commensalism, right? Plus neutral. It's something like that. You get my point, right? Like I want to incorporate all those things. Like it's not like, be detached to something. Sorry. I need to go. Sorry. I need to go. I must go. Sorry for this. Sorry.
No worries. Okay. That was the quickest entry and exit. So yes, Champaji. I think Champaji.
Radhe Radhe Champaji.
Radhe Champaji.
Radhe Radhe. Can you hear me, Sandhya?
Yes.
This West Coast retreat, is it for online Indians also?
Yeah, so the retreat and family camp, we will have...
Family camp I have registered. For the West Coast retreat,
yes,
it is not yet in the Indian...
Oh, it's not yet started, virtual registration?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that will start soon.
It is only in dollars it is showing. Like for family camp, when I registered, it showed for Indians also I registered.
Check it out, clarify it with Kriti so that we are giving the, I think they might open it later or something.
Yeah,
but
they'll open it soon. Yeah.
Okay, okay, thank you.
I will update you as soon as it opens. I'll check it with Kriti ji.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Champaji. Okay.
Okay. Annapurna ji. Radhe Radhe.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you have to unmute me. You have to.
You are already unmuted, Annapurna ji.
Yeah. Okay. You know, you are mentioning about agape. You know, I just can you give what type of love is that? It is selfless love.
Selfless. It's like Tat Sukh Sukhitvam. We spoke about the concept of selfless love. That is essentially what it is, agape.
Yeah, selfless love is called as agape in what language?
Greek.
Okay. Thank you. I just have to write it down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Sunil Pathak ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Sunil ji.
Oh, Radhe Radhe. How are you guys?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing good, hanging there. Okay. You guys, so I think there was one question regarding that selfless love. I just wanted to tell that I think what Nitinji has been saying, you know, there is the verse in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Nava Are Patyu Kamaya. That basically says no one can love for anyone else's sake. Everything that one does not really love, everything one does finally has to be for the self's sake, meaning for the Atma's sake only. And I think in the material world, like what Prasanji was asking, I think selfless love or selfless activity can be seen, I think once when someone is situated in Sattva Guna, because selfishness is associated with Rajoguna, and Tamoguna gives selfishness and cruelty. So when Tamoguna goes away, cruelness goes away. Rajoguna goes away, selfishness goes away. So I think when you are situated in full sattvicness, then I think we can sort of see from that fully sattvic, completely sattvic level being, we might see that, you know, compassion or activity for others' sake. But before that, it's not possible.
True. Very true. It's not possible for us. And again, it's directly proportional to the quality of our mind. The more purified it has become, the more we will imbibe these gunas in our day-to-day behavior. But yeah, it's Rajasic and Tamas are taken care of at that point. So thank you for sharing that, Sunilji. All right, good discussion today. Now we move to our devotional segment. You are welcome to stay back. Or yes, Samji? You want to sing today? Samji is going to sing today. We really look forward to that, Samji.
I just wanted to say one thing. Some people asked me about Swamiji's lecture of this Sunday, where he talked about these 3 forms of love as well. So you can check out the Radha Krishna Temple YouTube channel. It will be there.
You can check out. It's a beautiful lecture. And I will anyway bring it to one of the sessions, all the details. So in case you saw me, I mean, I was getting some messages that we see you typing. I was not WhatsApping, okay? I was making notes and I do it on my mobile. So in one of the sessions, I'll bring pretty much all the key points from that lecture. But yeah, you can check it out. I think it's available on YouTube.
Yes, and one more announcement. Thanks to Kumarji, he just reminded me. Tomorrow there is SMX session, Swami Mukundanand exclusive session, in which you can have a direct one-to-one interaction with Swamiji virtually. So whoever is not on SMX platform, do explore it and do register for it, and do not miss out on the opportunity to ask your questions directly to Swamiji. I'll share the SMX link in the chat. In the meanwhile, Samji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, I wish I can sing it, but my question was regarding Nitin the other day mentioned that he is switching from Friday to Sunday. I just want to check because otherwise everybody will be, many of us will be tied up for all the 7 days. Like sometimes some programs are there on Friday also, and you are changing to Sunday. So Sunday is also, I'm just, many people may be free also, but I'm just curious.
We don't want anybody to be free on any of the days, Samji, let me put it that way. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I think it might be a good problem to have.
Some classes on Friday, that your class was fitting into the same scenario properly. That was going on Sunday.
Fridays usually, Fridays, Sundays, you get into a rhythm, right? It's a weekday, Monday to Friday, it will work nicely for India. Plus, most of the people, they are getting into the mode of office on Sundays right now. And that's the feedback I'm getting. And Friday, Saturday, usually they get into the weekend mode. So they need that off. We'll see. I mean, if we need to switch it around, but for now, that is what it stays, and it will be, we'll see how that goes. So Samji, you can make it, I'm sure. Okay, Sundays would work out better, trust me. And God will say, very nice. The one day that you were having for yourself, that is also devoted now. So maybe some of the Friday programs can be switched around to suit your schedule, but we'll see how that goes. And if anybody else also has reservations, put it in the feedback tracker. I would like to hear from you on that. And now that you have opened your question, Samji, we have to hear bhajan from you one of the days, even if it's 2 lines of your choice. Please do that.
I wish I can sing it, but I don't know, or I never saw.
It's always the first time, Samji. I'm telling you, you can do it.
No, I can't even sing anything. No. So once I do it, maybe I'll sing it for the first time here. But I have no idea. I know nothing. My voice is very hoarse. I have nothing.
No worries, that's fine. But you can prepare maybe a couple of lines, and we'd love to hear from you.
No, I can't sing. I never sing anything.
Sure.
Maybe one day.
Sure, we'll look forward to that. All right. By the way, it was Tendulkar's birthday also, and there was an interesting quote I came across. This guy Matthew Hayden had said, "I've seen God," and then he said he bats at number 4 position for India. Okay, so I said God is mentioning there. I mean, because he used to play really well, so that is how he referred to him. Yes, Payalji, you wanted to sing? Okay, we have 3 hands for singing. Anita ji, you had a question, or you wanted to sing?
So the Kumarji is also, I think, so people can fill in feedback tracker if they have any concerns regarding Friday class being shifted. And Kumarji is requesting to have a poll for that decision. And so I just wanted to put it forth. Okay. So maybe I'll first ask Anita ji. Radhe Anita ji.
Radhe Anita ji.
Radhe. I have both. I have one little question, little query. Like we are having YouTube video for this last week's satsang, Swamiji's satsang. Do we also have the video for the before last week's satsang also?
I mean, before last week, there was some technical issue. The electricity was not there. So I don't think we'll have the
power
recording.
outage, but we can check it out for you.
Yeah,
You
if it
can
is
check out the Radhakrishna Temple YouTube channel. If it is there, it will be there.
Yeah,
I can also check
YouTube channel
in.
should have it. If it is there, you'll find it there, and there's no other place where it would be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make a comment. Last time I was asking to put me to selfless team because that is my rut going on nowadays, current affair. So that's why I wanted that, but Krishna made me to go to Ananya. So just I accepted with that with the Prasad Buddhi. So thank you so much for all the opportunities. Thank you, Radhe. And I will go last, I think, for the bhajan. Thank you, Radhe.
Okay, sure. We'll see if that like in IPL, those transfers are allowed, right? We will see how we can facilitate if we need to do that. So we can.
And I'm receiving mixed responses from people. Some are saying Sunday is good, it works best. Some are saying Friday. So I will just request you to put your comments in the feedback tracker.
You can make it work. We have full trust in you. Okay, let's move to our devotional segment then, and get started with Anita ji. You wanted to go first because you asked that question. Let's have that. Time permitting, a couple of lines I can do as well.
And there are some hands which I'm not sure if are for devotional, like Prashanta ji. Are we taking that first?
Now we have moved to devotional segment. Expiry date has come, so Questions can be taken on feedback tracker.
Okay, all right. So first of all, Anita ji, Diyasini ji, Payal ji, we'll save you for the last.
Sure. Your call.
Okay. Anything, I think.
Yeah, let's get started.
Yeah, maybe Diyasini. You
Radhe,
also want to
Radhe.
participate in the devotional segment, right?
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
Yes. So I want to present one. We usually call it song, but it's okay. It's a bhajan. It is written by Rabindranath Tagore, and it means that let us all go to the abode of God and let us all devote our life to God. It is in Bengali, and then it will be followed by English. It's not too long. For a few sentences are there. Okay. আজ শুভ দিনে পিতার ভবনে অমৃত সদনে চলো যাই চলো 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 ভাই চলো 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 যাই আজ শুভ দিনে পিতার ভবনে অমৃত সদনে চলো যাই On this blessed day, let's all head to the place where His divine grace covers all. Come, my friends, let's all unite. Come, my friends, let's all rejoice. On this blessed day, let's all head to the place where His divine grace covers all. Victory bell rings in the corridors of light. Come, my friends, let's reunite. Victory bell rings in the corridors of light. Come, my friends, let's reunite. Come, my friends, let's all rejoice. Come, my friends, let's all rejoice. On this blessed day, let's all head to the place where His divine grace covers all. In our hearts find peace and happiness. In this moment of blissful heaven, in our hearts find peace and happiness. In this moment of blissful heaven, come, my friends, let's all unite. Come, my friends, let's all rejoice. আজ শুভ দিনে পিতার ভবনে অমৃত সদনে চলো যাই. Thank you so much. And in fact, this song was already in Gitanjali, the songs offering, for which Rabindranath Tagore won the Nobel Peace Prize. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you so much. You brought it from Gitanjali. Yeah, he got Nobel Peace Prize, right? Beautiful song. And looks like Diyashini, you have reincarnated directly from British era. You know, you were in that era and then you just came in here. Very beautifully sung with very spot on accent, I should say, British accent. Very nice. Loved it.
Very professional singing, like the way she was switching from Bengali to English, such smooth transitions. Wow, I just loved it.
You are awesome. Very nicely sung. And Bengali itself is very sweet, right? I mean, it has its own texture. Very nicely sung. Very sweet and loved it. And thank you for...
No, you're not bathroom singer in no ways. I don't agree with that.
Very nicely.
Okay. Okay, Anita ji.
Please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. I just have a Kannada folk song. I will tell the meaning first and then I'll go with it. It's a conversation between two Sakhis. They say like, hurry up, let's go Vrindavan to sell the milk. Let's hurry up to sell the milk. And the other one will ask, who will buy the milk in Vrindavan? Tell me, Indumukhi. The other one says, Govinda is there who looks after the cows. He is the one who will buy the milk. Listen, Sakhi. He does not give gold, he does not give pearl, but he gives up himself. Come, Sakhi, let's roam on the banks of Yamuna, asking anybody wants milk. In pretense of selling milk, let's seduce Hari and call him. Let's offer milk and offer our soul and attain liberation. Saumya Mukhi. Blessed we are who sell the milk and buy Hari, Kamalamukhi. Where is the profit that exceeds this profit of ours, Indamukhi? We don't need, I just added one line to the last extent because I attended the JKO with this knowledge. I thought I'll add this line. Without this, it's not complete. The other one will say, we don't need mukti at all. Let's have the love of Krishna. Okay, I'll go now. ಬೃಂದಾವನಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಲನು ಮಾರಲು ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ಬೃಂದಾವನಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಲನು ಮಾರಲು ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ಬೃಂದಾವನದಿ ಹಾಲನು ಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ಯಾರಿಹರೇಳೆ ಇಂದು ಮುಖಿ ಬೃಂದಾವನದಿ ಹಾಲನು ಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ಯಾರಿಹರೇಳೆ ಇಂದು ಮುಖಿ ಗೋವನು ಕಾಯುವ ಗೋವಿಂದನಿಹನೆ ಗೋವನು ಕಾಯುವ ಗೋವಿಂದನಿಹನೆ ಹಾಲನು ಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ಕೇಳೆ ಸಖಿ ಗೋವನು ಕಾಯುವ ಗೋವಿಂದನಿಹನೆ ಹಾಲನು ಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ಕೇಳೆ ಸಖಿ ಚಿನ್ನವ ಕೊಡನೆ ರನ್ನವ ಕೊಡನೆ ತನ್ನನೆ ಕೊಡುವನು ಬಾರೆ ಸಖಿ ಚಿನ್ನವ ಕೊಡನೆ ರನ್ನವ ಕೊಡನೆ ತನ್ನನೆ ಕೊಡುವನು ಬಾರೆ ಸಖಿ ಬೃಂದಾವನಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಲನು ಮಾರಲು ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ಯಮುನಾ ತೀರದೊಳಲೆಯುವ ಬಾರೆ ಹಾಲು ಬೇಕೆ ಹಾಲೆಂದು ಸಖಿ ಯಮುನಾ ತೀರದೊಳಲೆಯುವ ಬಾರೆ ಹಾಲು ಬೇಕೆ ಹಾಲೆಂದು ಸಖಿ ಹಾಲನು ಮಾರುವ ನೆಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಹರಿಯ ಮೋಹಿಸಿ ಕರೆಯುವ ಬಾರೆ ಸಖಿ ಹಾಲನು ಮಾರುವ ನೆಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಹರಿಯ ಮೋಹಿಸಿ ಕರೆಯುವ ಬಾರೆ ಸಖಿ ಬೃಂದಾವನಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಲನು ಮಾರಲು ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ಹಾಲ ನಿವೇದಿಸಿ ಆತ್ಮವನರ್ಪಿಸಿ ಮುಕ್ತಿಯ ಹೊಂದುವ ಸೌಮ್ಯ ಮುಖಿ ಹಾಲ ನಿವೇದಿಸಿ ಆತ್ಮವನರ್ಪಿಸಿ ಮುಕ್ತಿಯ ಹೊಂದುವ ಸೌಮ್ಯ ಮುಖಿ ಹಾಲನು ಮಾರಿ ಹಲಿಯನು ಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ನಾವೇ ಧನ್ಯರು ಕಮಲಮುಖಿ ಹಾಲನು ಮಾರಿ ಹರಿಯನು ಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ನಾವೇ ಧನ್ಯರು ಕಮಲಮುಖಿ ಬೃಂದಾವನಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಲನು ಮಾರಲು ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ನಮ್ಮಿ ಲಾಭವ ಮೀರುವ ಲಾಭವು ಬೇರೆಲ್ಲಿಹುದೇ ಇಂದು ಮುಖಿ ನಮ್ಮಿ ಲಾಭವ ಮೀರುವ ಲಾಭವು ಬೇರೆಲ್ಲಿಹುದೇ ಇಂದು ಮುಖಿ ಬೃಂದಾವನಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಲನು ಮಾರಲು ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ಮುಕ್ತಿಯು ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಡವೇ ಬೇಡ ಪ್ರೇಮವ ಹೊಂದುವ ಬಾರೆ ಸಖಿ ಮುಕ್ತಿಯು ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಡವೇ ಬೇಡ ಪ್ರೇಮವ ಹೊಂದುವ ಬಾರೆ ಸಖಿ ಬೃಂದಾವನಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಲನು ಮಾರಲು ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ಬೃಂದಾವನಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಲನು ಮಾರಲು ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ ಹೋಗುವ ಬಾರೆ ಬೇಗ ಸಖಿ. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Anita ji. Very nice. Very devotionally and with bhav-poon singing. Is it in Kannada? Was it in Kannada?
Yes.
Very nice. Looks like you practiced this one a lot and seems to be one of your favorite bhajans.
Yes, it's my second favorite after the first one.
Okay, very nice. Thank you for sharing.
It's a folk song, actually. Earlier I knew this, but after JK Yoga only, I just loved it so much that I wanted to sing it here.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing it to our session and for all the bhav-poon singing that you did today. So thank you so much for that. Loved it.
And Anita ji added, I guess, a line at the end by herself based upon
she
her
added
learning.
one line by herself, yeah, just to make it complete.
Mukti.
That was a
Right.
good improvisation.
Yeah, wonderful.
Very nice.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Anita ji.
Thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you here in US soon. Okay.
Yes. Awesome. So we have two hands, Manish ji and Payal ji.
Yes, Manish ji, wanted to sing as well?
Yes. Radhe Radhe. Two people are muting and muting. Radhe Radhe, Manish ji. I can't hear you.
Your audio, you may want to fix that, Manish ji.
We can't hear you. Okay.
Sudhakar ji has raised his hand as well.
Yes. Sudhakar ji. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. I have not registered earlier, but is it okay? Can I try to sing his bhajan?
Sure, if it's a short one. Otherwise, tomorrow we can take it.
Okay, I will try. Just I'm learning this one. This is regarding the Ram Nam, just a small one.
Okay, sure.
प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम राम श्री राम राम पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेके राम नाम पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेके राम नाम भव समुद्र सुख तनाव एक राम नाम भव समुद्र सुख तनाव एक राम नाम श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 परम शांति सुखद निदान दिव्य राम नाम परम शांति सुख निदान दिव्य राम नाम निराधार को आधार एक राम नाम निराधार को आधार एक राम नाम श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 परम गोप्य परम दिव्य मंत्र राम नाम परम गोप्य परम दिव्य मंत्र राम नाम शांत हृदय सदा वास्त एक राम नाम शांत हृदय सदा वास्त एक राम नाम श्री राम 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 श्री राम 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 Shri Rama Rama Ram, Shri Rama Rama Ram. माता पिता बंधु सखा सभी है राम नाम, माता पिता बंधु सखा सभी है राम नाम, भक्त जनर जीवन धार एक राम नाम, भक्त जनर जीवन धार एक राम नाम, श्री राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम, राम राम राम, श्री राम राम। प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम, राम राम, राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम.
Thank you, Sudhakar ji. Very nice. You made your debut, which is amazing, and we love to hear more from you. But yes, please register beforehand. It helps us plan us. But thank you so much for taking initiative today and singing this devotional bhajan for Lord Ram. With that, let's move to Payal ji. Thank you for waiting patiently with us. So over to you now.
Yes, Radhe Radhe Payal ji, over to you.
Thank you, Radhe Radhe संध्या जी, नितिन जी, and आपकी देवभूमि हिमाचल में जाके बहुत अच्छा लगा.
Nice. Are you back? Still there?
No, I'm back.
Very nice.
It
Yeah.
was wonderful meeting them, and बहुत ही अच्छा. ऐसा लगा ही नहीं कि I'm meeting them for the first time. So
Yeah, they enjoyed meeting you as well. I think my mom is here as well. So for the benefit of Payal, she actually went to our home and went to Palampur, and my parents got the opportunity to meet her. And her
I got opportunity to meet them, Nitin ji.
and her beautiful family, son, daughter, and husband. So they really relished and enjoyed meeting you. So it was a good. I'm glad you could meet them. So on my behalf, so I'll be meeting them soon as well.
Okay.
All right. Now you know, right? I'm not lying when I say, you know, mountains are visible and stuff like that. Maybe
Yes, absolutely. Breathtaking view from the terrace.
Yeah, it's beautiful there. I miss it now. Now I'm able to appreciate it much more now that I'm out. So great, awesome. Please go ahead. All yours.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरधर हरि, जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन नंदन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन नंदन, यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन जन ब्रज नंदन, जमुना तीर बनचारी, जमुना तीर बनचारी, जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी, हरे कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, thank you so much. It's a beautiful bhajan. In fact, if you simply, it's a very good one for Roop Dhyan also, and you sang it so really well. There's a instrumental version of it as well, purely in flute. If you have not heard it, it's so beautiful. You can just put it on headphones and pretty awesome. Very nice.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. So myself and Manishi will get an opportunity tomorrow, because I think we've run out of time today, and people, I don't want to take too much of their time. It's 10:30. Our co-host more than 10:30 now. So I and you will sing. I'll give you opportunity before you, and then I'll go after you. Maybe tomorrow, maybe we have a hard stop, Wednesday. So you and I will go first. So reserve your bhajan for Wednesday, and then we'll go and we'll have few more as well. So thank you so much for another engaging session. Tomorrow I'll meet you. We'll talk about a very interesting topic again tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. You can check it out in our Insta update and other updates. We are going to put that out. But thank you again for your enthusiastic participation and giving about 60 to 90 minutes of your day again today. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. And Radhe Radhe from my side.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Thank you to all those who kept their video on. And thank you for the beautiful devotional segment. Radhe Radhe. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a good day and good night. Yeah.
Thank you.